Hi students, this is Miss Diana. In this video, we'll see about a tiger in the zoo from class 10 English. It was written by Leslie Norris and his full name is George Leslie Norris. And he was a prize-winning Welsh poet and short story writer. And he is considered one of the most important Welsh writers of the post-war period. And his literary publications have won many prizes. He was born on 21 May 1921 in United Kingdom, and also he was died on 6 April 2006 in United States. This poem written by Leslie Norris explains the agony and helplessness of a caged tiger that lives in a zoo. The poet explains what his life could be if he had been a free animal. And the poet has tried to explain about the conditions of the animals that are caged by human beings for their own fun. Okay, now we'll see the summary of the poem. The poem begins with a description of a tiger that is very beautiful and is walking in his little cage. He has beautiful stripes on his skin and has velvet-like soft paws. But the tiger is not happy and is quite angry about being confined in the cage. The poet says that if the tiger was not confined to the cage, he would have been hiding himself behind the long grass near some water body in order to catch its prey, that was the deer. Also, he would have terrorized the residents of the villages around the forest area. But the reality is totally opposite to this. He was confined in a cage which was made up of strong building materials, and he was helpless there. He could not show his power to the visitors, therefore never tried to terrorize them. And he says that during night also he is alone, hearing the voice of the patrolling vehicles of police and looking at the stars. The cage life has totally changed the tiger's personality. The poet is trying to say that the animal which is famous for its fearlessness and freedom is confined and sad due to the human beings who want to derive pleasure by looking at him in the zoo cage. Now, we'll see the poem in stanza wise. First stanza. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage and pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Here, stalks means follows are walking, vivid, bright color, and pads, paws of tiger, rage, anger. Here, the poet says that the tiger that is confined in the zoo moves around in the cage under his bright colored skin. He further says that the tiger can take only a few steps because the cage is very small and it is not easy to move in it. One cannot hear his footsteps because he has very soft feet like velvet, because of which there is no sound of the tiger's footsteps. The tiger tries to control his anger by quietly walking in the limited area of his cage. He is angry because he is not free. Now we'll see the second stanza. We should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole, where plump deer pass. Here, lurking means hiding. Sliding means moving slowly. Plump means chubby or fat size. Okay. In the stanza, the poet says that if this tiger was free, he would have hid himself behind the long grass near the water bodies so that he could easily catch a deer in order to have it as its food. Basically, the poet wants to say that the actual life of a tiger is to live in jungle where he could catch his prey and eat it. Now, we see the next stanza. He should be snarling around the houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his glass, terrorizing the village. Snarling means making sound and moving. Baring means showing off. Fangs means teeth, sharp white teeth. So in this stanza, the poet says that if the tiger would have been free, he would have snarled around the houses located at the outskirts of the forest. He would terrorize or making frightened of the people with his sharp teeth and claws. This would create fear among the people living in the villages. Now we'll see the next stanza. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Here concrete means building made of bricks, cement, sand and water, everything. Cell means room, the cage. Okay. And now the poet comes to the reality of the tiger that is inside the cage. He says that the tiger is confined in a strong cell which is made of strong building materials. He further says that as the tiger is behind bars, so his ferociousness is also behind the bars. He just stalks inside the cage. And he never tries to terrorize the visitors because his power is restricted by the cage. Therefore, he never tries to terrorize the visitors as he cannot attack them. Okay. Now we see the last stanza. He hears the lost voice at night, the patrolling cars, and starts with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. The poet says that in the night, the tiger hears the sounds of the patrolling cars. Patrolling cars are the vehicles of police, which are used to guard at night. So in the night, the tiger hears the sounds of these cars. Then he starts at the shining stars with his shining eyes. The poet wants to say that the tiger is sad, and as he is confined in the cage, so he cannot do anything. Therefore, he starts at the stars in the night and tries to divert his thoughts towards them. Because he is inside the cage and he cannot do anything. Thank you, students. Have a good day.